Greetings, everyone. My name is Tisi Mabunda, and on Bold Moves Radio. Today is Saturday, 20th of November, 2021. This is the Vibrant Corner, and I'll be host tonight. I'm not alone today. Like, I also have some of the SADC youth. Sorry, not only youth, like SADC team. And we're going to be discussing different issues, but mainly we're going to talk about the skin cancer in albinism. So, like I said, I'm not alone tonight. I've got the panel here. I've got Miss Chikundi Kanjanza. I've got Queen of Batonga. I also have Mr. Peter Mbado. So in that order, I'll start with Miss Chikundi Kanjanza, just to say hi to our listeners and just introduce yourself briefly. Thank you. Ms. Chikondi.
Good evening. My name is Chikondi Njadza. I'm from Malawi, and I've been Miss Albisism Malawi since 2019. So that's pretty much it. I've been advocating for the rights of persons with albinism in Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Ms. Chikondi. And then our second guest tonight is Mr. Peter Mbado. Mr. Peter, greetings and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Mr. Peter Mbando. I'm from Tanzania. I am a co-chair of Disabilities Cluster of SIOF. I am so glad to be with you, and I'm looking forward to contribute to what I have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, it's Queen of Batonga. Evening, Queen of Batonga, and welcome. Can you just introduce yourself, ma'am?
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Marvelous Chuma, Maveti. I'm the Deputy Director for the Noble Hands Bible Trust, and I'm the Albinism Connect Manager. I'm an artist. I do music, film, I write. Yeah. So yeah, that's me. I'm from Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Miss Chuma. When I saw people joining, today's technology just keep on messing with us. I got the name Marvelous Chuma, so I'm just in my head thinking that you're not here, not knowing the Queen herself is amongst us. So thank you very much, for being with us tonight. Again, we are Bold Moves Radio. You can catch us on www.boldmovesradio.org. You can also catch us on Facebook on Bold Moves Radio. You can catch us on YouTube, it's Bold Moves Radio. So on all our social media, it's Bold Moves Radio, and we're live now. So tonight, we're talking about skin cancer and albinism. Some amongst you will remember that 6 weeks ago, we had a topic, where we're talking about, albinism in general, and my colleague was the host, Pastor Strike, and thank you very much for that wonderful show. So we just want to take it a little bit further and talk about skin cancer and albinism. Maybe let me just come to Chikondi and pose this question. What is skin cancer, especially in people with albinism? And again, before we can just proceed, if Queen of Batonga or Peter, you want to add on, you can always come in and add on. Okay, just unmute when she finishes and then you can add on. Thank you. Chikondi, over to you.
Well, skin cancer in albinism happens when a person with albinism has been exposed to sunlight, a lot of it. And first of all, you get sunburns, which when the sunburns persist, you then start to develop some blisters. And these blisters, they lead into skin cancer, which is, we can say, it's a very big sore that doesn't really heal anyhow. So I can say it's basically that you've been exposed to a lot of sunlight, and then you get sunburns, and these sunburns persist to becoming, and they they get bigger, they grow. So that leads into skin cancer. I think my friends can add on to what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you, Chikondi. That was Chikondi just like trying to give us, like a little bit of definition on skin cancer, also like consistent with people living with albinism. I'm not pretty sure if Mr. Peter or Queen of Batonga C, she wants to add on. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, so just to add on, I can say those are like abnormal cells which grow it will be those abnormal growths, like they grow on the skin. They'll be just abnormal, especially on the skin, like our queen said, Queen Chikondi said it will be those growths will be growing on the skin, that skin which will be exposed on the sun mostly. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Like our time now is like 16 minutes past 6 o'clock Central African time, or GMT +2. I understand that Peter might be like an hour in front of us. It might be like, am I right, Peter?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. In addition to my colleagues, I would like to say not only sunscreen can cause skin cancer, but also essentially today I'll be speaking on the way how technology affects people with the albinism, as well as the people without albinism. For instance, the radiations coming from cell phones, laptops, and all those communication radiations. For instance, cell phones emit radiations in form of radio frequency radiation or radio waves, and cell phone use is widespread. Even a small increase in cancer risk from cell phones would be of concern given how many people use them. So on these cell phones, when they emit that radiation in radio frequency, it emits something which is called the electromagnetic spectrum. So there are those, they can be measured in terms of second, third, and fourth generation cell phones. For instance, we used 2G, now 3G and 4G, now we are going to 5G and 6G. So when they emit radio frequency in the frequency of range of 0.7 to 2.7 GHz, these are just technological terms. So the fifth generation of 5G cell phones are anticipated to use the frequency spectrum up to 80 GHz. So you see how the frequency the transmission of these frequencies, they are very, very high, but also they cannot be measured in a way that can be reduced, because people, they want communication. So skin cancer has a lot of things to be emitted or to cause to both people with the albinism and those without albinism. Thank you so much. We'll keep the discussion going on.
Okay, thank you very much. That was like Peter Mbado, the co-chair of disability, like in the SADC like SAYOF. This is quite interesting because like we normally hear about this 5G, though I would like to touch on it like a little bit like later. Let me just remind our listeners and our viewers like on YouTube and Facebook that like they can engage with us on Bold Moves Radio on Facebook and also on YouTube. We'll be more than welcome to read their questions, their comments and everything else. So just to also like remind our listeners that we also, those who are traveling, you can like log in onto www.boldmovesradio.org, just like that. So I would like to proceed with this, and again, like our time there is like 19 minutes past 6. Sis Queen of Batong, or Sis Marvelous, is skin cancer more aggressive in Black albinos, in your findings? And if that is the case, why is that?
Thank you so much. I think right now where I am, my network is, but I'll try. So I can say yes, because I can say black people mostly, let me just say in general, those guys we are in the hot regions of the planet, so it affects them mostly because obviously we are in hot regions. So and then the global warming thing is increasing, you see. So now it will be it's not like in other countries whereby it will be cold, and then again poverty. Mostly black people poverty is killing because they have poor access to sunscreen lotions, and also the main cause factors it's increasing chances of cancer, especially to poor communities here in Africa. Also, there are certain degrees of albinism that brings immunity challenges to the person with albinism, like the if you know the it's Pudlak syndrome. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's Pudlak syndrome, or maybe the cells of it's called Griscelli. Yeah, you know. So there are so many albinism types, you know. So mostly those people, especially in Africa, we have poor access to sunscreen. And a person with albinism, if you don't have the sunscreen, you will die, you know. So yeah, I can say that's the main thing why the albinism in black people is more dangerous, because poverty and lack of sunscreen lotions. Because as you know that a person with albinism, our melanin is sunscreen. Without melanin, that sunscreen will die. Yeah. Yeah.
No, thanks very much. Thanks very much. I think Chikondi, a little bit. Chikondi, over to you.
Yeah, and just to add on what the Queen has already said, just because of the poverty that is there in Africa, you know, we as persons with albinism, we also have to work to earn a living. So as we're working to earn a living, we also put ourselves at risks because we are getting exposed to the sunlight. So in times like these, I don't know about other African countries, but if in Malawi, it's really hot and it hasn't rained like for a month now, but it's hot. And because of poverty, we have to work. We have to do our businesses. We have to go to our farms, various farms. And in so doing, we're getting exposed to sunlight. And the fact that we do not have access to the sunlight, to sunscreen lotion, also puts us at risk. So just to add on what she said, it's also because we work to earn a living, trying to earn a living, which we end up getting exposed to the sun, and it's a lot of sunlight. So yeah, I can say poverty, yes, and also we're just trying to earn a living just like anyone else.
Yeah, maybe to say again, those people with albinism, especially here again in Zimbabwe, most of them, when they go to school, we have short eyesight, right? And when time to concentrate on the chalkboard, you will be stressed. Sometimes, as for me, for example, when I was at school, I used to sit on front, but even if I sit on front, I can't see properly. So I had to stand and go to the chalkboard and come back again, write and go back. So now people, children, other children, your schoolmates, or your classmates, they'll be mocking you. Hey, sit down. You want to sit too, that thing. Sometimes they start calling you by names, discrimination. So it needs someone who has a big heart. If you don't have a big heart, then you will just say, no, I can't do school. School is not my thing. School is not in me. I can't even do anything, because of one, short eyesight, two, discrimination. So I think those are the things that are most people with albinism, they are failing to go to school so that they can graduate. There are few. If you see here in Zimbabwe, I think about 80% of people with albinism, some of them, they didn't go to school because of the school will be far, maybe about 4 kilometers or 3 kilometers. Now it will be hot. She needs to go, or he needs to go to school and come back. The sun will be very hot. Some, they don't even know what is sunscreen. So some, they just decide to stay home. And then when the person grow up, you will start doing vending, selling, some carpenter, some doing electricity will be on the sun. So that's what is affecting people with albinism.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Queen. Thanks, the Queen. Thanks, Chikondi. Like when you're talking about like the severity or the harshness of the sun in our region, last week in my home province in the Pompo registered, I think like it was 42 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine, if that sun, like if someone is exposed to that like level of sun harshness. So it's like when you said like it's way much, or maybe black albinos or black people with living with albinism are more at risk. I didn't like understand it, like what's the difference, but now I understand like it is the issue of accessibility to resources that deals with that. Maybe coming to Peter, what is the role of your organization, in making sure like you mitigate or decrease this risk of skin cancer in people living with albinism?
Well, thank you so much, sir. Essentially, it's to advocate and to create awareness to persons with disabilities, especially persons with albinism. They are vulnerable, and it's a society that it has been looked like underserved society. So we are raising the awareness of human rights in the community, that to recognize these people, anyone can have such kind of effect that they are also getting. And in our communities, we have lots of people with the disabilities. They deserve the same services, they deserve the same rights like any other human being. Right to education, right to knowledge, right to leadership, and all rights that are human rights on the earth. That the organization is advocating for without leaving everyone behind.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Peter. Thanks very much, Peter. Like our time now is almost like 6:30. Today is like the 20th of November in 2021. You are still on Bold Moose Radio with Chise Mabunda, and tonight I'm with Mr. Peter Mbado, Ms. Chikundi Ganjaza, and the Queen of Batonga, Ms. Marvelous Chuma. Look, I heard, Chikundi, this is for you. Like I heard Marvelous, touching on issues, the challenges that like you might meet, or like that you meet like when you are in school. In our last session, one of the guests, just forgot his name, I think Aldridge, like did say that like there is a challenge with him looking at the screen, but I know that you're one of the first, when it comes to graduating like at a university in Malawi. Please take us through with that, like just in a nutshell. The challenges that like you might have met like in the process and so forth.
Okay, throughout my education, that's what you mean? Okay, so, well, as a young person with albinism, I really struggled with my education. First of all, there's a discrimination that the Queen talked about. There's always, people noticing that you're different, especially when you're in primary school. Your friends notice that you're different, and they talk all sorts of things that may disturb you and maybe just pull you back. And I've seen most people, especially in Malawi, just dropping out of school because of the discrimination that's there, like the Queen said. And Apart from that, there's also the issue of traveling long distances to school. Because if the school is very far and you do not have any protective material, and the sun, the way it's hot this time around, the sun is already hot like at as early as 7 a.m. in the morning. So for you to survive throughout the day at school, it's really hard if you don't have sunscreen lotion, if you don't have protective, clothing that would help you protect yourself from the sun. So that's also one reason why people drop out of school, drop out of school, because you cannot stay in the sun for a very long time. And also there's the issue of sight. Like we said, our sight is not as good as the rest of people or other people. So you have to like stay in front, and sometimes the teacher may not write things that are clear. So you have to ask. And in my case, I really just had to ask from friends and then borrow their notes later in the day after the class, and then I would have to write the notes. And it's through that I kind of made it. I did not give up because I had a supportive family. Some people maybe drop out because they do not have a supportive family. They just ignore what the kid is going through. But in my case, I had a supportive family, supportive friends, and I really worked hard because I also feel like if I learn and be somebody, at least I'll be a role model to other young people with albinism. So I just had to work hard. So I did that, and for now I'm not in school because I graduated in April, with my first degree. So I have been a role model for me, and I intend to achieve more because I don't want to stop there. I want to be somebody that a lot of young people will look up to. But there are a lot of challenges that young people with albinism are facing. So it is good for people to encourage them, especially family members and also friends. Just encourage them and support them in everything else that they do. And I think I should stop there. But if there's anyone else who wants to add, feel free to do so.
No, it's a good. Thanks very much, Kondi. Just like wanted our listener just to be a little bit like up close and personal with yourself. I like just checked on my Facebook. We have Leona Pelpiri, who's like greeting his family. We've got Gabaza Ramalepe, she's also just greeting us. Oh, and we have Sisirleboile Lefujana. She's saying like thank you for giving us like insight. The panel is doing great. I think that you should be smiling, all of you, if Leboile is also following us. So thanks very much. Like it's the time now, it's 7 minutes to 7 o'clock. In GMT +2, so we almost like have like 25 minutes to the end of our show. Like as Africans, we know sometimes we have like other strategies to deal with different types of diseases. Is there any nutrition intervention that can help preventing breast cancer? And this question, let me start with the Queen. If then Peter and Chikondi can follow suit in that order. Is there like any nutrition strategy that we can assist our brothers and sisters in dealing with this skin cancer? Thank you. The Queen. Okay, seems like the Queen, if like you can hear us, like. Okay, Sis Marvelous like seems to be struggling with the network, as you said like initially. Mr. Peter.
Yes. So I'll start to speak on the issue of skin health before I give away that what I think it's really concern right now because of the dynamics of the world. The skin health has become a worldwide concern. Most of the studies investigated the effect of mobile phone radiation on DNA and animals. So, but a few studies were carried out about skin diseases in mobile phone and tablet users. Few systematic studies have examined the relationship between mobile phone exposure and skin diseases. So, on diseases of the skin, especially skin cancers and the contact dermatitis, are very important because of the high prevalence, chronic nature of diseases, and the high impact on the quality of life. So, skin diseases cause pain and discomfort in 21% to 87% of the affected people in the world. Then skin diseases allocated high burden of diseases rank 18 in all age groups. So if it is ranking 18th in all age groups, also you are vulnerable to it, sir. So the only thing that I can say on behalf of electromagnetics when it comes to phone and laptops and all tablets, I can say that I think the best way is to abstain all the time, to be on the phone and as well as on the tablet and computer. Even if you have a strong body immunity, your eyes can be affected, so you start feeling like you have short-sighted. You understand? Then you'll develop something called short-sighted impairment. Then you say, oh, I used to see, now I cannot see anything. It's because you have exposed your life in highly electromagnetics. Another issue, when you are using a technology like phone, you please, I recommend it for persons with albinism to reduce the light and use dark mode. Another issue, when you are using laptop, you are supposed to cover it with another display to reduce the light, or use the spectacles that can reduce the light, and also use the settings that you reduce the light. It is not proper to use it looks like funny that, oh, you see with very light, but at the end of the day you get into problems with the skin. So the skin, you get smaller rashes, and also it goes developing into a cancer. So it's another kind of epidemic which we don't know. And this is another issue of illiteracy. We talk about poverty, but illiteracy, lack of knowledge, how to take care of ourselves. Somebody can expose him or herself on the sunlight which is beyond the hours of getting vitamin D. So we are supposed to expose on the sunlight when there is it is early in the morning, that which is neutral one, then that gives nature to our skin. But above 10 a.m. it is going to cause more problems on our skin. So I think the best way is to follow also medical recommendations and the dynamics of the world, of the environmental factors. We can also see the effects of climate change, the effects of this kind of the environmental issues can affect us. Even when we eat, there are some food when they are exposed to it. There are some electronics like microwave. They can affect us. So there are so many issues, and we have also to be very careful with IoT, Internet of Things. We cannot use all of them. Don't be exposed to for innovation. Every innovation you jump in, you should also study what are the side effects of it, that we can reduce the skin cancer for both persons with albinism as well as persons without albinism. Thank you so much, sir.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. You know, just I think a few weeks ago, my wife told me that, you know what, just because you are dark, you don't have to use every app, you know, in dark mode. So I guess who's having the last laugh now? I see the Queen of Batonga wants to add on. Sis Marvelous.
Yeah, hey, sorry guys, I had to pack again. Okay, so on the other note, I think to avoid breast cancer, people should just eat avocados, you know, ginger, yeah. And then the other thing, especially us ladies, we have a thing that we like. If you have money, you put it in your bra, I'm sure the pinch coin you can understand. You put it in the in the breast there, so that it will be safe, or maybe thieves will not notice. So that can affect as well. And then I urge like, let us start by educating our community. Let them know, like as our brother said, that we should be doing it's called examining. Just checking on yourself every day, every week, and then get screened maybe twice or thrice, or per year, so that you can be sure that you don't have the breast cancer or the cancer, so that it gets treated earlier before it's on the late stage. So that it get treated on the early stage.
I saw Chikondi wanted to add on, like, need to add something else? Okay, I think Chikondi, like, she's covered. And our time now is like 20 minutes to 7 o'clock on this Saturday evening. You're still with me, Tise Mabunda, on the Vibrant Corner. This is Bold Moves Radio. You can catch us on www.boldmovesradio.org. Catch us on our socials like Facebook and YouTube. We are live. This is Bold Moves Radio. So both Facebook and YouTube, it's Bold Moves Radio. As we continue, I like what you said, Mr. Peter, because I think like some of those things that like we're mentioning, they don't only affect people living with albinism, you know. Even like myself, as dark as I am, even myself, I can have like that skin cancer. But what I wanted to also like ask a little bit was, you know, in this age of digitization, you know, how then do we try to move away from technology and everything, you know, because look, for now we're having this radio program like on Zoom, you know, and for us, I think like if we were to meet, it would take us like years and years and years before we can meet. But then what best, I know like you partially given like some of the insights, you know, maybe this question can be posed to each one of you. How best can we deal with this issue, you know, because radiation is everywhere, like I said, and cell phones are like one of the devices that are emitting radiation alongside your microwaves and so forth. Mr. Peter, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, there are ongoing studies, and they reported an increase in temperature, hypersensitivity of warmth, fasciodermatitis, angiosarcomas of the scalp, and burning sensation in the facial skin after mobile phone use on the exposed side, and more within the auricle and behind or around the ear. So this shows that the level of evidence associated with the effects of radiation from the mobile phone and tablet on the skin is poor. So that means when you are exposed to high temperature, for instance, when you are charging your phone, do you think that the sensitivity that you are getting when it is hot, do you think you feel like when it is hot, then you feel like your skin is developing, like something is itching. It's itching because already those radiations, they are burning up your skin. So those dead skin, they can tamper with your inner skin. You understand? Now, when we use this, we should be moderate. Let's be moderate when it comes to everything. With the sober, we can move, because now we cannot be going back to time that in a digital economy, we need also to work. In a digital economy, we need also to take care of ourselves, not only on the skin, also mental health. So we have to create this awareness and advocacy. Every corner of our body should be taken care. Even spiritually, we are now praying through technology. But how far have you connected with your internet? Maybe you're connected close, Why don't you put it very far away? Then you put the voice on. Then also you sit somewhere, you listen, and even to the ears.
So sorry, Mr. Mbado, but when you put it far away, my sister, the Queen and Chikondi won't see.
I mean, for my sisters, they have those spectacles that they can reduce the light, and also they can reduce the light of their devices. Then they can see it. It gives like a maybe 30 centimeters. It's good. 30 centimeters up to 60 centimeters. It's good for their health. I think that is much better. And if they don't see, actually, they can go to a big screen. They connect their devices. That's much better. For instance, for me right now, I'm not using my phone. I'm using my laptop to connect with you. Now I'm far away from 30 centimeters, and I'm speaking with you. The only thing that I have to raise my voice, but I'm aware of the burning of these radiations when I'm connected to the internet. So it's a good way to stay in a way that you are not more vulnerable to the electromagnetics.
Yeah.
You are taking care, and also the clothes that we wear, it depends with the weather. That's why I'm saying let's create the environment of reading and seeking for knowledge, because we are always illiterate when it comes to these issues of our health. It changes because of the time and the technology that we are adopting everywhere and every day. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Thank you, Mr. Mbado. That is Facebook. Maina Basan Mafresh is also saying like interesting conversation. And I just want to also, alert Mr. Maybe our panel, some of the panel who are on Zoom, if they want to add on, they can just like raise their hand. I can recognize them if there is something that they want to contribute to this show tonight. Our time now is like 13 minutes to 7 o'clock. And thank you very much, Peter. I'm really like in a different space now, like what you've just said. And I just got a text on WhatsApp. The question is it only the extreme level of heat, or maybe also the extreme level of cold that can cause skin cancer? I've never thought like in that sense, So over to you, Chikondi maybe, and Queen, and then Peter can add on if he wants to add on. So the question is like, do you only get skin cancer from heat, or even like the extreme level of coldness can affect you? Chikondi.
I don't think coldness can affect you, because for me, I feel like coldness is the ideal weather for a person with albinism. But it's the sunlight that affects a person with albinism, because when it's cold, we actually it's actually the ideal weather for a person with albinism. It can never I don't know, maybe because I from my experience, it doesn't really get cold as the other countries, but the coldness that we get in Malawi, I feel it's okay. It's the ideal weather for a person with albinism. Because I haven't experienced the weather that's there in overseas countries. So but that's what I can say.
Okay, Queen.
Thank you so much. Like our sister said, mostly it's the heat. But mostly people, what they don't know is they think it's the sun only, but sometimes it will be cloudy, and there is what we call sun rays, so that heat from the clouds, it can affect you more than the sun directly. So people, when they see their clouds, they think, no, today, Mave, you are enjoying your day. Sometimes if it's not raining, it will be very hot. And then on the other side, sometimes when it's too cold and the person with albinism doesn't have the lotions, sometimes the skin, it gets dry to the extent that it cracks and then the person starts bleeding, but it will be just wounds. And then if you get a lotion, it can be cured. It's not cancer as such. Yeah.
No, but before you can go, the Queen, I just want to ask quickly, like just a follow up on that one. Does fire, we always use like the fire to cook and stuff. Can it also affect people living with albinism?
Yes, mostly in rural areas. If the photo, there's this other lady who stays in the rural areas in somewhere here in Zimbabwe, in a place called Zimba. We went to see the lady, and she the fire causes black spots. It will start a blister, and it will be a wound. After that, it will dry up, but it will remain there, and it will be black or brown. So they get those. Maybe the whole face will be brown. Those peaches, the brown. I don't even know whether I should say wounds or black spots, but it will be not it's not a spot as such. It's something like a wound which just dried, and it's now a black a black wound, but it's not painful. It will be just dry, like you can remove it. By the time now you are removing it, it will be cancer, because if it start bleeding and the wound cannot dry up again if it start bleeding on that black spot. Yeah. It will be just a wound. Then start growing. Yeah.
Thanks very much. We're heading towards the end of our show, but I just want to ask for a young parent, who's at home with a little child or maybe a little child living with albinism. What would be the advice? I think from that tender age, what sort of lotion, even if you're not mentioning names, but you can give the specifications, of those kind of lotions that they can apply to their kids.
Okay.
Chikondi and Peter, if you have something also chip in. Thank you.
All right. For the little one, I think the parent just make sure that the kid is wearing a sun hat. You are avoiding the sun. The kid is wearing long sleeves every time, and you are using sunscreen. But before sunscreen, you should put on a lotion first without SPF, so that your skin can get moisture. The skin of the child can get moisture, because some sunscreens don't have moisturizers. So you just put on a lotion. For example, maybe can I give an example?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, maybe Akia's cream. Here in Zimbabwe, mostly people with albinism will use Akia's cream before the sunscreen, because the sunscreen it's now like an overall, so that you can put it on the top of that lotion, so that your skin can be soft and get moisturized. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, thank you very much. I hope people are learning from this. I don't know if Chikundi wanted to add.
Sorry, I have another thing. There is a lip balm with SPF, because the lips are so softy. So the sun hat sometimes cannot cover the whole face, So you need to put those lip balms with SPF, so that the sun can not burn the skin direct, the lip direct. It can burn on that lip balm. Thank you.
Oh, okay. No, thanks very much for that. Chikondi?
Okay, just to add on to what the Queen has said, when parents are raising kids, we know how kids are. They're just they do not really know what's happening. So it's also good to monitor your kids because they sometimes get carried away with other kids, and then they find themselves in the sun, and they do not know what the sun can do to them. Because innocently they just think they're just like the other kids who can stay in sunlight and they won't get any skin cancer or any sunburns. So I feel like it's also the duty of parents to direct their kids on what to do, where to be, and also their limits in where they're staying. If they're to stay in the sun, at what time are they expected to stay, and what they should do before going in the sun. So I feel like it's also the duty of parents to direct their children in where they how they're going to handle issues like those. Because from my experience when I was a kid, and it it just happened that every time I went with my friends in the sunlight, my mom used to be, she was very concerned with what the sun would do to me. So I learned at a very young age that I'm not supposed to stay long in the sun. I'm not supposed to stay in the sun. So I feel like it's the duty of parents and also guardians to just monitor their kids, because it's not on for a child to get skin cancer at a very young age. Yes.
No, thank you very much. www.boldmooseradio.org. Facebook and YouTube, we are Bold Moose Radio. My name is TC Mabunda, and then the show is The Vibrant Corner, and the date is 20th of November 2021. It's a Saturday evening. We're at the end of our show. There's a question on YouTube. Quickly, this one I would like to post it to Mr. Peter. The question is like, what has been the progress? I know you have answered some of this, but what has been the progress in the fight against skin cancer?
Well, it's complicated right now, but I think every national in SADC, they have a program of diagnosis, skin diagnosis. The backstops is that people like me and the others and those who are in the rural area, we don't know if there is cancer, skin cancer clinics to the referral hospitals, and some of them, they are very far. But if we take time to go to the hospital to see dermatologists, those specialists in the skin, it will be much better. And to see the situation, how it goes, and also the current data that we have. It's unfortunate, even our national now, they are just happening to give the data only for the pandemics, how many people are dying because of cancer, skin cancer, no. But for COVID, they give. And another issue is we don't get even how many people they have been got skin cancer through mobile phone or electromagnetics. But when it comes to kids, I can add on that. Please, dear parents, dear guidelines, although kids now, they are using those tablets and the phones to start, or laptops, please, it's a time also to limit them, to limit them using. And also there is another way you can use a stand, that they can use a stand instead of putting them on their on direct to contact the skin. When they are watching movies or when they are on YouTube learning something, they should not contact directly to the skin, because the way these electromagnetics and the temperature is increasing, it can trigger their skin as well. To conclude on that, the effort should be made by anyone. We should seek knowledge, and also those with knowledge should not be selfish. They should educate the community on how can prevent themselves from skin cancer. Thank you so much.
No, thanks very much, Peter, Mr. Mbado. I will just try to squeeze in this last question, but we've reached the end of our program. I would just want you to wrap up for us, or your parting words. I will start with Chikundi, and the question that I wanted to squeeze, they just asked, what is SPF? So you may start answering that one. What is SPF? And then just your parting shots, Miss Chikundi. How about you?
All right. SPF is just an abbreviation. It means sun protecting factor. So the higher the SPF, the greater the chance of the sunscreen to protect you. So there's the SPF that's recommended for persons with albinism is 50 and above, because that's the one that has a greater sun protecting factor. And for my parting words, I would just wish to say that as parents or guardians that have children with albinism, it's good to protect them from skin cancer, because it's deadly, and that's what is killing a lot of persons with albinism. So it's better to monitor our kids and also just encourage them to wear protective clothing, and also to just encourage them to apply the sunscreen lotion with a good SPF. And also just for our governments, I would love to say that we should also consider, coming up with ways that will protect persons with albinism. Because like we say, usually it's because of poverty. So if we come up with strategies that will help persons with albinism to get out of poverty, eventually they'll be able to afford these sunscreen lotions and what have you. So I feel like also if governments can join in the fight against skin cancer for persons with albinism, we're going to win this battle. Yeah, I think I should stop there because of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chikondi, and then I'll go to the Queen. Your parting words, Ms. Chuma.
Okay. So all I can say is that, to the parents, make sure that we are protecting our princesses and our prince. And then to us, like the grown-ups, we need to make sure that you don't wait for anyone to tell you that the sun will burn you. Make sure that you are protecting yourself from the sun. And then in every way, let me say, even Malawi there, Green Chikondi there, Mr. Peter, make sure that in every project, in everything that we do, we help people with albinism, empower them, than waiting for donors or government to give us the lotions for free. Make sure we empower each other so that I can work and buy the sun lotions on my own. Yeah. So yeah, and then the great thing, let's love and help each other. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Mr. Peter, in a minute, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. I would like to agree with my previous speakers, and I'll speak on to advise. I mean, at national level, the implementation of standard policies and strategic planning for primary health care by government officials should also be on their top priorities, which is necessary to reduce people's concern in order to provide a suitable solution for high-risk people. So this should be one of the highest priority to put into policies and strategic planning, even to those people who are in remote areas. Not only people should go to the referral hospitals. We need healthy care to go up to the people who are at lower grassroots. That's the only thing I can recommend. So those, they can subsidize, like the government itself, it has budget. It can set the budget to produce sunscreen just for persons with the albinism. It's easier. Why they spend a lot of money on other issues, but they don't spend a lot of money on creating this issue of reducing the pain that our people are getting. And also education is key. They should also empower and amplify, not only to empower, to amplify persons with the albinism. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Thank you very much, Ms. Chikondi, and thank you very much, the Queen of Batonga. And to our listeners at home, thank you very much for being with us for the past hour or so. this Bold Moves Radio, you're gonna have like more shows, of this nature. At Bold Moves Radio, we keep on saying that we're raising a flag high for an African child. I would like to thank like my producer, Pastor Strike, for making sure that like this show is a success. So to everyone at home, thank you very much. Akensa, Rolibuwa, thank you. Asante, Maita Basa, Waita Zwenyu, Asante. Thank you very much. Till we meet again.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.